Hello, yogis and spiritual seekers. How are you? My name is Crystal Gray. I'm the creator of the Yoga Goddess Academy, and I love helping women to become confident and inspiring yoga teachers through yoga teacher trainings locally, online, and also in person in places like Costa Rica. So I have a 12-day yoga teacher training coming up in January. So it'd be really awesome if you wanted to join us and get more information on that. So I love teaching yoga or people how to become yoga teachers, but I also just love teaching yoga. That's what's really led me to be passionate about helping others to share their unique voice with the world, because really we all have something important to share. And I think that sometimes we don't feel like we have something valid to say. And today I wanted to bring on, and I wanted you to know that that's not true, first of all. We all have something important to say. And today I wanted to bring on Lori DeGardi, and we'll be talking a little bit about enlightenment and what that means to her and what it can mean for you and how to towards enlightenment in your life. And so Lori has an awesome podcast, and I was just a guest on it about a week ago. I think it went live, and it was a really awesome, and it was very fun just to talk with her. So I thought, what better way to kind of thank her than bring her here, and so that she can share some of her wisdom with us today. Hey, Lori, thanks so much for hopping on.
Hi. You're welcome. I wish it was as easy as just hopping on.
Yeah, we had some technical
like
difficulties.
Wow, but we did it.
We figured it out, yes. All right, Lori, awesome. So I told them that we'd be talking a little bit about enlightenment today, and maybe some ways for you to bring it a little bit more down to earth, that whole, because sometimes it seems kind of elusive, right, just to the average person. But I thought maybe you could give us just a little background on who you are and what you do now.
Okay. Well, I'm glad to be with you. And I just want to make sure that this also, please forgive the adjusting. It was all set up until we couldn't really go live. So I am Lori DeGardi, and I'm here in Tucson, Arizona. I've been here for 2.5 years. I live on the side of the mountain. I moved from the suburbs of Philadelphia, and I call myself a personal power expert because in all my 56 years, that's what my focus was, whether I was conscious of it or not. And I share my expertise, my experience, my wisdom, my knowledge through professional speaking, through coaching, through writing. I'm an author, and I do the videos where I interview you. And basically every breath I take has that embodied in it. It's just all about how can we show up embodied in our most powerful self, that true self, that authentic self that has always been with us and will always be with us, no matter if we experience that or not, because we have a lot of illusions, a lot of subconscious beliefs, we have traumas, we've got so much stuff that can kind of cloud over the truth of who we are, the truth of our existence.
Yeah.
So that's, and so, yeah, and even when I was speaking, I'm a TEDx speaker, and I even spoke about that kind of on the TEDx stage. So it's just my life. Yeah. Leading with personal power.
Yeah. So how do you start helping your clients to do that?
Yeah, that's a great question. So I have a system that is going to be in my new book, and I want to ask you for a really catchy title. I tell everybody about your title, your new book. So one of the first things that's important for you, or a client who comes to me, is to really be courageous and committed to your greatest self. If you don't have the courage, and if you're not committed, nothing's going to happen. It's going to be a struggle. You're going to be pushing to get something and never get anywhere. So that is the absolute first thing. You need to be committed, and you need to have the courage, because even though being authentic is actually easy, all of the illusions that we have between ourselves and that authentic self seem scary at first.
So can I ask you a question? So does courage mean that you live without fear?
No, not at all.
Okay.
No, it can mean that.
Yeah.
Uh, but typically, courage means that you could be scared shitless, and it doesn't matter. You're going to do what you're going to honor your commitment, because living your greatest life is too important to
Yes.
put in the back anymore. So courage is showing up for yourself over and over and over again, no matter what.
I love that. That's why I wanted to ask you that, because I knew you'd have something really insightful to say. I totally agree with that. So Lori, how does enlightenment play into this all?
How does enlightenment play into this all? Well, that's a big, wide question. Well, the first thing that pops up is that so many people, and me for a while, kept seeking something more. Like, I know there's something more. I want to be my greatest soul self expression, and somehow made who they are, or I made who I am right now, somehow wrong or less than.
Mm-hmm.
So that doesn't work, right?
No.
You have to have that radical self-acceptance and self-love and self-honor, and really be grounded in your body and be the best human you can be before you can be enlightened.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we came to earth in this body, so we have to learn how to be in this body and be connected to our truth in this body before we can, give it all up to be enlightened. And as they say, you have to be somebody. Who was that? Jack Engler said, you have to be somebody before you can be nobody, right? So when you have this heightened state of consciousness or awareness, or you're enlightened, it's like your ego's gone or something like that. You need a healthy sense of self before you can become enlightened. Mm-hmm. And that's why it's so important to be grounded and be the best human you can be, whatever that means, which we probably will get to.
Yeah, and Lori, what I kind of think an easy way for me, whenever, just by hearing you talk, whenever I hear the word enlightened, I think that we can just make it such this big thing. But to me, what I'm finding in my life is that it is that radical self-acceptance and being like, look, I've been here or whatever. I might not be, whatever I thought I was going to be, but just accepting your whole path and accepting where you are and accepting who you are. I think that is a huge part of what enlightenment is.
Yes. And when you do that, when you have that self-acceptance and unconditional love, that moves you through or transforms any inner conflict you have. Mm-hmm. Because if you have inner conflict, I would have to say then enlightenment is still far away. Yeah. Because when you are in conflict with your own self, then you're not in that true space of who you really are. Mm-hmm. Because you still have some type of trauma, subconscious belief, conditioning. You have something going on that says that you aren't who you really are. Mm-hmm. Like, oh, you're really powerful. You're an amazing yogi, right? And there's this little voice inside of you. No, you're not. You're full of shit. You're fake or something, right? That's that inner conflict. And so as long as those pieces of illusion that create that inner conflict exist, then you can't truly be enlightened. Yeah. So it's important in my work and in my life, always being aware of, oh, I think I'm in conflict with myself. There's an aspect of me that needs a bit of attention, so I can transform that into the truth. And so for me, that's the journey to enlightenment.
Definitely. And I just want to take a minute to say hey to all of our live viewers. Thanks, guys, so much for joining.
Hello, everybody.
So, Lori, did you want to maybe share, I thought maybe you mentioned a practice that us yogis and spiritual seekers could start doing to walk a little bit more on that path.
Yeah, I would love to. And I have to say, I've never shared this in a webinar or in front of people in an interview before. It's something that I talk to my colleagues about. It's something I do for myself. And being an intuitive, I can actually do this for other people. But it's something you can do. And it helps you transform any of that inner conflict or illusions that you may have, so that you can transform that energy and it's free to your highest self or your soul self, your authentic self.
Yeah. That sounds awesome.
So
Thank you.
Yeah, well, and I haven't I haven't shared it before. So when they say, and I guess I buy into this belief. that if you can't explain it to a 6-year-old, you don't know what you're talking about.
I've never heard that, but it's so true. I say that to all my yoga teacher trainees all the time. I say it like you're explaining it to a child, like a 7-year-old. Not that they're like dumb or at all, but you have to be able to explain it in simple words.
Yes, and so I will try, and if I don't, please stop me,
Okay.
because I can get lofty and heady.
Okay.
And sometimes I see what I'm experiencing, and it's like the technology lag. I don't always have the words to match what I'm seeing.
Sure.
But I'm going to do my best here. And
Okay.
so just please stop me if we need to.
Okay.
So I want to share something that I call enlightened dialogue with aspects of self, or the illusory self. Okay. And it goes back to what I shared a little earlier, that by Dr. Engler. He said, I don't know how many years ago, 20 years ago, he's a Harvard psychologist, Buddhist practitioner. And I don't know him very well, but most people have heard him say, you have to be somebody before you can be nobody. And what that means is, so many people are on the path to spiritual enlightenment, and they want to have this expanded, heightened state of awareness or consciousness, but they haven't dealt with their trauma, or they haven't dealt with the relationships with their parents. You have to have a healthy sense of self in order to release it, to be enlightened. Because if you have all these false notions about yourself, there is no shortcut. We're human, so we have to do this human dance. And that reminds me also of a book. Do you know Jack Kornfield?
Yeah.
So have you ever read his book, After the Ecstasy, The Laundry? So I read this, I think, so I don't remember a lot, but it was so poignant, because it kind of goes back to that saying, you have to be somebody before you can be nobody. Yeah. So Jack Kornfield practiced as a Buddhist monk in a couple different countries in Asia. And he had all these expanded states of consciousness, awareness, enlightenment. You know, it was like his life was like that was his life. Yeah. Until he came back to America and had to get back into society and his friends and family, and shit hit the fan. And so, and these are my words. Yeah. So his point in that book is, yeah, enlightenment is all right, unless you can't actually use it in your day-to-day life. Right. Then is that enlightenment at all, right? So the practice that I want to share with you is about doing that laundry, being that somebody, and finding out what is there, like a splinter or a subconscious belief or something, that inner conflict, what that is, and what you can do to transform it. Okay. Does that make sense so far? Yeah. Okay. Sounds great. I mean, some people want psychic readings, people get Reiki, people do this and do that, and it's all wonderful. But if you don't change those inner conflicts, that energy stays with you, that illusion stays with you. For sure. I thought this enlightened dialogue process would be great for you and your viewers, because you're yogis. Yes. And I can see that since I'm tagged in this, some of my followers and my friends are also on here. So hello, everybody. Hey. So it's really important to be grounded in this human body. If it's good enough for our soul, it should be good enough for our humanness, right? And as you and I spoke about in our interview on my The Visionary Voice, it's a process to keep coming back home to your body, to be really grounded in your body and not just think your way through life or be out in the ethers, right? So yogis, you're practicing all the time to pay attention to your body. You know, notice what's happening there, or be in there, feel your feet on the floor. So that's so important to this enlightened dialogue process. So there's so many aspects of ourselves, pieces that have gotten fragmented through our years, and pieces that just got caught up in subconscious belief or social conditioning, that kind of thing. And those are the pieces that can make these inner conflicts that have to be transformed before we experience enlightenment. So, you know, when, well, let me give you an example. Yesterday morning, because I'm doing this all the time for myself. I mean, this is a full-time job, but I love it. I love this magic that we have this power to transform our lives every minute of every day. And so that's what I'm going for until I'm not anymore.
Yeah.
So yesterday morning, I want to give you an example of this enlightened dialogue, and then perhaps if we have time, we can try it here together. I was in the morning. I was having my breakfast. I was standing in front of the window at my kitchen sink having my cup of tea, and it was probably 7:30 or something in the morning, and I could feel a twitch in my body, and I heard, and the thought, and I don't know which came first, but a lot of times we have these negative thoughts or conflicting thoughts. You know, the little thing on your shoulder saying, don't do that or whatever. And it's such a habit, we don't even notice we're thinking that. But when you're embodied, those negative thoughts or conflicting thoughts come with some kind of discomfort or bodily sensation. So when you're really grounded in your body, like I am most of the time, you can sense those things right away. So if you don't catch your thought, you can catch that twitch, that tightening up or something. Yeah. So I'm drinking my tea in the kitchen, thinking, okay, I'm having tea, look how beautiful the view is. And it was raining here in the desert, which isn't unique, so it was beautiful. And I heard a voice say, don't you think you should get into the office? Don't you have work to do? Like there was this thing, and my body started tightening up, and I thought, what is that? And I just got goosebumps. And I thought, I have been feeling that every day practically for years. Like there's something better I should be doing, something more I should be doing, that I'm doing something wrong, but it had to do with getting to work and the time. Yeah. Because I can tell you, Crystal, even if I wake up at 4 o'clock and I'm having my tea at 4:30, I'm going to be hearing that voice that I'm not doing enough. Yeah. Do you know what I'm saying?
Oh yeah, for sure.
And so when you're grounded in your body, those types of thoughts, I'm not good enough, she's better than me, oh, she's successful, but I don't want to like her because of that, I'm too fat, or I should eat healthier, or all of those negative directives come with bodily sensations. So it's easier to see them and notice them when you're aware of when you have that embodied awareness. So as I'm drinking my tea, I thought, you know what, I am tired of this one. It's been 50 some years of hearing that voice saying, I'm not doing it right. And I need to dialogue with that to see what's going on. Because ultimately, in my experience, all the pieces of me, all the fragmented pieces of me, the traumatized pieces of me, the little girl, Lori, who had all kinds of things happen to her, all those pieces of me, we're all me, and we all want the same thing. We all want this beautiful life. So we're all on the same team, which is a great thing. So there's this dialogue we can do to understand what's going on with that, why that belief exists, why that piece of us is fragmented. And for me, I talk to that piece of me, that fragmented piece of me, or I never explained this before, so I'm looking for words here. Does it make sense so far?
Yeah.
Okay, good. You know, I have this enlightened dialogue, and I speak to that aspect of me as if I was speaking to a child that I love more than life itself. It's not like, what the fuck are you bugging me all the time for? No, it's like, it's this heart. Yeah. It's this heart in dialogue. So normally what I do, and for some reason I save it for before I go to bed, I make a note of it because I'll forget. And I just sit, and I might do some, I don't know what you call this breathing that you do in yoga. What is it?
What, deep breathing? Ujjayi breathing?
When you hold your nostril, I do some chakra cleansing.
Oh, Nadi Shodhana, alternate nostril breathing.
Yeah, I do that. I do some things to really center myself and get grounded. Yeah. And I make a conscious invitation to that aspect of me that is not happy with my schedule, or the one that was talking to me when I was having my tea. So I might say, okay, I would like to dialogue with that part of me that is always hounding me about my calendar, not doing enough, not being in the office. Please come, I'd like to dialogue. And I get quiet, and I just really consciously open up to that aspect. And what happens is most of the time, my whole body shifts. Like everything shifts, and I embody that energy. I become that energy, and it starts talking. well, you know, if we don't get enough done, we're not going to be able to really live our dream. And you know, you might miss this. And I'm making that up because I don't usually remember after the fact what it was, but I hear it, and it's like, oh my gosh, that's why all these years there's been that voice telling me to get into the office always hours before I ever get there. And after I allow that aspect of me to just talk and say why it's wagging its finger and yelling at me, I then talk to it as if I'm talking to the most beloved child. I hear that you're afraid of this. I see what you want is this. And I get it.
Yeah.
How can we work together? How can we make sure that you're not in fear over this? And then I can feel, then I go back to this shift in my body, to that aspect. And I feel it soften a little bit and show up a little bit more fuller and let it speak again. And I go back and forth 3, 4, 5 times. It doesn't usually go back and forth a lot, but some of the deeper stuff might go back and forth. But in the end, we form an agreement that what we want is the same, and I make these commitments that I will always do my best, I'll protect you, or whatever the fear might have been.
Yeah.
I'm the grown-up, this is my life. I know that when I make a commitment, I keep it, and I give permission to that aspect of me. If I break my commitment, come back and tell me, because I know I will feel it and I'll hear it, I'll sense it. So this is an enlightened dialogue process that when you do what I suggested, that energy there isn't always in your ear. This morning I had tea. You and I messaged a little bit this morning to get the time right. We had all the Facebook, challenges. That voice didn't once tell me, Lori, your whole day is going to be screwed up. Like the fears it may have been telling me. So in order to do that enlightened dialogue process, in the way I do it, it's important to really be grounded in your body so that you can sense when one of those little voices is trying to control you based on fear, or is creating that inner conflict. So those aspects of you, as long as they're yelling at you, whispering to you, hurting your back, we have physical ailments because of those inner conflicts. As long as they're there, enlightenment can't come.
Yeah. Well, and I really love that, Lori, because I feel like, I say, yes, I'm a yogi, but I'm really on a spiritual path, and I've been, on it since I was little. But that's something that I do, is I really encourage people to look at all this stuff rather than just get mad about it or whatever. But I really like that piece that you added, because I think it's easy to get mad at that inner voice, but also just turning it around and talking to that part of yourself like a child, because there's no sweeter way that I would talk than how I would to my daughter, right? And whenever you can treat that part of you like that, I mean, that's also just going to let your whole self know that you accept it. It's like, I'm not going to try to shove you under the rug. I hear you and I honor you, and let's have that dialogue about it. I think that's amazing.
Yes, it is. That unconditional self-love and acceptance of all the aspects of you. That is key. If you don't have that, you will never have that enlightenment that you seek or dream about. Yeah. You have to accept and love all of you, even the stuff that's bullshit, even those beliefs that aren't true that are there. Yeah. You're absolutely right. And one of the other things I want to mention is when you really have this embodied awareness, when you go through your day, you can feel the tightening up of something that's triggering you, something that doesn't feel good to you. That's what happens to me now. Like, it gets my attention when I was having a cup of tea, and I could feel my body tighten up, and then I heard that voice, you should be in the office or something, right? But you don't have to do it that way. When you're embodied, when you have embodied awareness, you can catch it exactly as it happens. However, if you know, for example, that you've been noticing when you see another woman's success, rather than immediately think, oh my God, I'm so happy for her, you have a little bit of a thing that says, ah, shit, why can't I do that? Yeah. Right? Or you compare yourself. A lot of people have that. So you may know that that's a pattern of yours, and you just experience it each time. It feels like crap, but it's there, and you do want that woman to have success, but God damn it, why can't I have mine, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so if you know you have a pattern like that, or you want to lose some weight, but yet you keep going to the chocolate or the chips or something, if you know you have these patterns in your life, you can take a moment to get quiet and invite that aspect that is jealous, or that aspect that can't celebrate that woman's success right away. Mm-hmm. Whatever aspect is pulling you back from being present with her, you can dialogue with that aspect, right? And so you may not, like in this moment, you and I may not feel that right now, but if that is a thing that we either of us have going on, we could dialogue with it right now, or write it on a note to dialogue later with it, without having to experience it that day. As long as we know it's a pattern in our life, mm-hmm. we can, like I would suggest, write down all the patterns in your life that don't feel good, that that you're aware of, that somehow is illusory, or in some way takes away your joy. Mm-hmm. Write that list and start dialoguing with it, mm-hmm. and be patient. You will transform it. It's the most amazing thing. When I transform these aspects of myself, it's like, it's like you show up and, you want to be present and authentic and enlightened, but there's all these layers of stuff in front of you to the light out over there. And all these layers are some of those aspects of ourselves. Mm-hmm. But when we dialogue with them and transform that energy and acknowledge it and commit to the same goal with it, we start getting rid of all of those walls, those illusions, and the thing that we wanted most starts happening more easily. Mm-hmm. Because our intentions are only as powerful. A friend of mine, a coach of mine, who's a mystic, what did he say? Your intention times your inner conflict is equal to what you manifest. So this inner conflict aspect, which is what we're talking about today, when you can lessen that or transform it all, then your intentions can be your manifestations. Yeah. But it has to go through this filter of your subconscious beliefs, your traumas, all of those things that trigger you, that hold you back from yourself. So
I love that. And this exercise seems like it'd be I really promote like free writing, and it sounds like that would be a really good thing to do. Even if you take a note, like throughout your day, if you write some topics like, that was a weird thought that I just had. Why'd I think that? Write it down. And then later, whenever you have time, come back to it and just do that free writing where you're just writing.
Yes, writing is amazing. And it also, writing, when you write with a pen or pencil with your hand, it highlights all the aspects of your brain. I would just recommend when you do that to write in the voice of because what I'm talking about is an enlightened dialogue with an aspect of self who has been trying to get your freaking attention. Yeah. So, make sure when you journal that you're giving that aspect the voice when you write, and then write from you, asking questions and acknowledging. And what's really important is to be in your body, because it's so important, because you cannot transform those aspects of self, the illusions, intellectually. It's all about embodiment. You have to be somebody before you can be nobody. Yeah. You have to do the work in this body. So you have to be embodied to do the work.
For sure. And I really like that. So whenever you're journaling, you might think, oh, well, it's got to be all happy and pleasant. And I like that, giving that inner voice, that inner, the maybe that shadow self of yours, that sometimes we're ashamed of. Just let it have its voice and write it, and then write back to it and talk back to it. I think that's amazing. And also I think that if that voice if you won't listen to that voice, then it's only going to get worse and show up in worse ways.
Yeah. Yes. I mean, imagine, it's all about acknowledgement. Mm-hmm. I mean, if you have a child or a dog, some people don't have children. So you'll just take that example because it popped up, a child or a dog, and they're hungry. And they're saying, Mommy, I'm hungry, or the dog is barking or crying or, like bugging you when you're trying to work. Yeah. You have to acknowledge that hunger. You have to feed it. And then it's done. And so those aspects of ourselves that are the illusions, the inner conflict, the traumas, the subconscious beliefs that aren't true, it's like an incomplete thought form. It's incomplete in some way. And so this whole enlightened dialogue is to complete it. I see you. So if you're writing or if you're dialoguing with your voice, and I do suggest speaking this out because the voice is very powerful. So if you know, even if you're writing it, you might want to talk about what you're writing.
Yeah.
You're completing something that's been incomplete for perhaps your whole life or 10 years, 30 years, whatever. And so it's all about acknowledgement, acknowledging those aspects to complete it. Because there's some, like the part of me that was saying, get into the office, no matter what time I got into the office. I mean, like that little voice thought I could live here, but of course never sleep, always do work. But there was something that aspect of me never got. And it created this belief and this fear.
Yeah.
And so you complete it. And when you complete it, it can, like, well, you love it into wholeness, right? You love it into your wholeness, because it is a part of you. You are whole, but it's like this splinter that wants attention, so you can say, oh, here it is. And so it's about bringing all those aspects back into your wholeness and acknowledging it, completing it. Yeah, because
I think that whenever we're on the spiritual path, sometimes we feel like we're not good enough because we have those thoughts. But in actuality, I mean, everybody has them, and we've talked about perfection and things on the interview I did with you, and that we're all perfect, you know. And sometimes we think the grass is greener on the other side, or those people must not have those thoughts because they're more spiritual or whatever. And it's like everybody's got them. So just really accepting that and listening. I'm really excited because I feel like I was definitely meant to hear this today. So I want to do this for, you know, maybe challenge myself to do it for like the next 30 days. Because I do a lot of healing and get a lot of healing done. But I think that this is something really important because it's easy to kind of hand it over to somebody else to be like, here, heal this for me, you know. But I think that it can be a lot more powerful if you look at it and acknowledge it, because that voice wants you to hear it.
Yes, it is an aspect of you. And I want to say this too, when you're saying, Crystal, that you might think that, when you're having these thoughts, these negative thoughts, that, well, maybe she doesn't have that. Why can't I be like her? And like we all have them. But here's the important thing. Those thoughts, those negative beliefs, those traumas, all those incompleted aspects of ourselves, the illusions, they are the key to enlightenment. Mm-hmm. Rather than push them away, you should be going, yippee! Another closer, right? Yeah. Because it's embracing those and dialoguing and acknowledging it and bringing it back into your wholeness. It's important that if you have those things going on, like that's where you can be grateful, because then you know, oh, there's another thing, another step closer. Yes. To me showing up completely, authentically, without illusions. Yeah. You can't show up. You can't be enlightened if you're keeping those things in the dark. Yeah. It's as if, you know, they're directions on the map. Like you're on your journey and you don't know where to go next. Tap into them. They're going to tell you exactly. They're the next step. That's beautiful. I'm pointing back here because usually, you know, so it's not something that you should poo-poo thinking, shit, why am I thinking that way about me? It's like, oh my gosh, I'm so grateful because there's another step closer to enlightenment. Yes. And thank you so much, voice, for being loud enough that I could hear it so that I could start to uncover that piece and get one step closer. That's awesome. Yes, because there's a lot of people, by the way, who have those things going on and they're not aware of them. Yeah. So being aware of them, it may drive you crazy for a bit until you realize that they're the key to enlightenment, or at least part of the key to enlightenment. Yeah. And either you know because it's a pattern, or as I said, when you're really embodied, which I believe yogis mostly are embodied, even if you miss the habitual thought, you can feel your body shift when something triggers you, right? Mm-hmm. And so then you can start dialoguing with those aspects. But yeah, those aspects are your key to freedom. That's awesome. You know, it's because the truth will set you free, right? Mm-hmm. They're part of you, and you need to hear that truth and complete it and bring it back. Yes. It's amazing. I have to say, I haven't been doing this long, in the last couple of years. It's fun. I'm so curious. It's like, wow, that's why that was happening. That's why I was holding myself back. That, you know, and the fact that we can do this, we can talk, of course we can speak with ourselves. So I call it enlightened dialogue because that's what it is. It's a different way of speaking to aspects of ourselves. And I mean, I can even do this for other people. However, I want to say, and it goes back to what you said, Crystal, I might be able to, like you say, oh, Lori, I have this part of me that is driving me crazy. I don't know why it exists, blah, blah, blah. Can you dialogue with it? And I can. You still have to embody that transformation. Yeah. Right? And so that's why if you do the dialogue, you're doing the transforming as you do it. Yeah. So I have healers, I have psychic people. I mean, I have a great big support team. And as I say, you can't get this amazing all by yourself.
Right. Oh, no, for sure.
And some of the most powerful work I've done is the stuff I've done on my own. But I have had powerful transformation with people who have helped me as well. Yeah. But I had to own it. I couldn't keep it out there. So.
Yes. So Lori, if people want to get in touch with you and maybe work with you, what would they do? What would be their next steps?
Well, you could reach out to me. So my logo and my work is all about leading with personal power. And my website is leadwithpersonalpower.com. My email is lori@leadwithpersonalpower.com. You can learn more about me. And one thing that may give you a head start on this enlightened dialogue is I have a free ebook and audio. It's called The 7 Ways You're Sabotaging Your Authenticity and Joy. And I list 7 ways where you may be doing something like we're talking about. So if you're thinking, well, how do I start? How do I know what to dialogue with in this enlightened way? That PDF will give you 7 ways you can check in with yourself to see if they're true. And if those aspects are true for you, you can start there. Awesome. So my website, leadwithpersonalpower.com, lori@leadwithpersonalpower.com, and on the homepage is that free PDF if it calls to you.
And why don't you put that in the comments after we're done then, so everybody can just click right on it.
Okay,
It sounds awesome. I'm going to get it. Okay, well, Lori, thank you so much for spending some of your time with us today. I know you're a very busy woman, and I'm so excited that I've got to connect with you because I really feel like just through our past conversations, it's helped me to even change a little bit about what I was going to say in my speech, because it was just like, yeah, that's what I believe. And so it really helped me to get a little bit more clarity on my beliefs. And so I really appreciate that.
Oh, great. Well, I had fun today, and I thank you for letting me give voice to something that I haven't given voice to before in quite this way.
Yay, me too. Yeah, thanks for sharing it with us first.
Yeah, and by the way, if anybody says, like, what the heck was she talking about? Go ahead and if you put a question in the comment because you didn't understand something that I said, I will respond. I'll respond back in the comments.
Perfect. All right, Lori. Well, thanks so much. You have a great rest of your day, and hopefully I'll talk to you soon.
All right. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. And thank you so much, everybody, for watching. I really appreciate it. Like she said, just put in the comments if you have any questions at all, and make sure you get her free ebook. All right. Bye.
Bye.